Katrina, I heard that you made a special appearance yesterday at a certain panel, and I heard also that you had made your own shirt for the panel, and I want to say that is the kind of content we are here for.
These are all lies. I don't know how these rumors get started. What?
Questions later.
You settle down. It's too early.
It's only 10.
I know, I was like, no one's gonna be there at 10 in the morning.
Oh, it's gonna be a rowdy one. Okay. Well, Kaity, it's great to have you back. And Katrina, we're so geeked to have you join us this year.
Thanks, I'm stoked to be here.
It's been a while since we've seen the two of you together, so what's it like getting the band back together?
It's so nice. I long after her. I'm just kind of lust after her across the way. Hey, Kaity. I just follow her career. And she's like, I booked this show. Now I'm on this show. Now I'm in Puerto Rico. Now I'm in Budapest. I'm like, dang, book her. Just girl, working.
So going back and watching your scenes, even just watching this right here, I mean, it's a little tough because the two characters were obviously very much in love, but there was a lot trying to keep them apart, and it seems like their stars were perpetually crossed. To say that Nyssara is angsty would be an understatement. Do you ever wish that viewers had a chance to see some more happier, lighter moments between your characters?
I mean, that'd be a different show. I
Slightly lighter or happier moments?
I don't know. I mean, I loved how dark Arrow was at that time when we were there. Watching the clips, it's weird, because I'm like, oh my god, like, we're so young. It was like 6 years ago, like, a lot of this.
Yeah, I personally love how dark and angsty it is, because the characters weren't at happy times during their lives, so I'm not really sure that there's necessarily moments of joy versus moments of growing and expanding together. And I think, you know, a lot of us have gone through that with a certain person, and it just kind of, I think it's reflective of life as well, where you just kind of go, hey, let's get through this tough time period together and see how we get through it.
We were like Juliet and Juliet. Lovers.
I mean, who amongst us hasn't had their girlfriend die and be resurrected in a Lazarus pit? I mean, it's a universal story that we can all relate to. Katrina, so Nyssa has managed to escape death numerous times, which we're grateful for.
Crafty, this one.
In fact, we just got to see her be alive and well and helping teach Felicity and Oliver's daughter the tricks of the trade. What do you think is it that keeps her going?
Well, Lazarus pit. That's the biggest one. No, I think she's a crafty one. She just kind of does her own thing, doesn't really get entangled into many other people's business, and whether or not you get along with her that day is dependent upon what her agenda is versus yours. So if they flow together, then we're all cool, but I don't know, probably a little slip and slide in there.
But you try to leave and not come back, and then she's like, oh, I'm gonna make this my business.
Yeah.
She's passionate.
Yeah.
That scene, which I think is the cutest things ever. So James Bamford, who's the producing director on Arrow, it was his daughter that played young Mia that you got to train, right?
Oh, she's a cutie, yeah. She's so intense. Well, James Bamford, first of all, he's our stunt coordinator, now he's the director. And one of the main things he'll always say to you is go faster, go faster, go faster. And for someone like Kaity, who trained in stunts and has been, you know, this like athlete her entire life, it's, I think, easier for you, whereas someone like me, I dance, but I was never a stunt person. Going faster sometimes isn't an option, but he didn't care. It was just like, he's just like, just go faster. And then all of a sudden here rocks up his 5-year-old daughter, and he's going, go faster, go faster, go faster. And I'm like, oh, he does it to everyone.
Yeah, she's like a little capoeira ninja. But I guess it'd be harder to go. You're like, I just had a baby like 3 months ago. She did that episode, right after giving birth.
I did it exactly 1 month after giving birth, and that was, anybody here have kids? Yeah. Okay, so for any of you who like breastfed, you know that there's a pump schedule. Let's get real personal, guys. There's a pump schedule that you need to maintain, and this is how I learned the hard way to never leave home without your pump, because I went 3 hours without it, or past my pump schedule. So, one, my boobs are huge, you're welcome. They deflated right after that scene. But every time I swung the sword, I literally felt my boobs slam to one side of my body and then slam to the other side. I just remember being like, look tough, don't cry. Look tough, don't cry. So, yeah, don't leave home without your pump. Glamour behind the scenes.
We learned so much at ClexaCon. So, Caity, now you have moved on to Legends of Tomorrow, a show which fans adore. And there's certainly a very different feel to the show. Not to call it lighthearted, but there is a lot of humor and fun. It's such a pleasure to watch. And what's it like being on the Legends set, especially now that Sarah has a serious love interest? And we'll get to that in a moment, Katrina. What they want, I'm sorry.
Being on Legends it's as fun as it looks. You really do need to come over. Woo! It's its own beast. I think it's been so fun because our show has always been like the black sheep of the shows, like of the Arrowverse. And it always felt like, you know, we were like the ugly stepchild. and like as of more recently, well, one, we also just kind of embraced that, but I think now it's not just us who love our own show, but the fans actually really love it. So that's been really fun, yeah.
Okay, so speaking of Sarah's love interests, can you imagine a meeting of the three of you? How do you think that would go on Legends?
Nyssa loves blondes.
Katrina, you are making lemonade out of lemons here.
We gotta make it work. Whatever works.
Do you think that Nyssa would be okay with this?
I don't know how Ava would feel.
Do we care how Ava feels?
Sarah's pretty open-minded. So I feel like, you know, she'd be like, you cool with this? Like, I don't mind.
Not the answer I was expecting, but one even better. So Katrina, Nyssa spent a lot of time working with and growing close to Sarah's sister Laurel. And some fans, a bunch of them, really loved the chemistry between those characters. And it was the first time we really got to see Nyssa happy. First, did you know that people shipped Laurel and Nyssa? And do you think it's ever something that Nyssa would have considered if things hadn't gone sideways? That's why I'm here, folks.
Well, you are always aware of things because it's, you know, this is a very quiet fandom. And they don't tweet anything.
Right. I just wanted to make sure, you know.
Yeah. So, you know, I may have heard a couple of things here and there, but like for the most part, I had to really search for that. And yeah, I don't know. I think Nyssa and Laurel had a really interesting relationship because they had love of Sarah Lance, obviously, different ways, hopefully. Oh, Season 10, you never know. You never know where this is gonna go. So, but yeah, I think they had a really interesting relationship just because they were kindred spirits in the sense that they'd been through so much, had so much loss, and so I think friendship probably would have been as far as either of them would have been willing to go, but there may have been a drunken night here and there. That's all I'm saying.
I'd like to think that Nyssa is just like a hopeless romantic for Sarah, and
those other girls meant nothing. They meant nothing. I was thinking about you the entire time.
Works for me.
How do you think your two characters changed each other's lives for the better?
Well, I mean, my backstory was, I don't know if we ever really got all of the details, but I think it was
just make them up. Give it
something
to us.
like I washed up and somewhere in China after sea pirates. I don't know, we're doing whatever with Sarah, I don't know, and then there was that doctor, I have no idea what happened to her, but somehow I ended up in like the streets of China, and I think you found me, right? That's what it was?
Yeah, something about a boat, you on a beach. I'm like the Little Mermaid. Oh my gosh,
Elaborate?
what's his name, Prince Eric? You're Prince Erica. And you woke up and I was like, hey boo. Oh my god.
Yeah, I do remember you brushing your hair with forks.
She taught me how to use a comb.
But it did sound like Sarah was basically kind of gonna die on the streets until you found her and turned her into a badass, right?
Yeah, pretty much. I think
Yeah.
I think that was probably the biggest thing my character gave you was your fighting skill set.
Yeah, you were like, come to Nana Parbat. Like, this place is cool. You can join this club, League of Assassins. But if you try to get out, we'll murder you.
Maybe don't make direct eye contact with my dad. Other than that, you'll be cool.
What do you think Sarah brought to Nyssa?
Well, she knows how to use a brush now.
Okay. It's gonna be like that, so...
Gotta search for the positives, you know?
So what do you two love about your own characters and each other's characters? And would you ever want to play each other in like an Elseworlds kind of episode?
Yes.
I mean, I've been playing Sarah Lance for so long right now. It would be fun to play a Nyssa version.
You would take the costume at Twirls.
The one with like the capey stuff. Yeah, that is a good one. I love how like your character she was hard. Like she was tough. Like in that video when Laurel's character says to Nyssa, like, she had arrows in her chest and wouldn't have happened if it wasn't for you. That look when you turn around and it's like, you said what? Do you know who I am? I think that was my favorite. Yeah.
All right, so Katie. Did I miss something? Oh, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I thought you were like taking a sip and you were like,
Too late, moving on.
sorry. Please, I beg of you.
Oh, I just had a shitty answer anyway. I would love to play Sarah's character. I think getting to make out with everybody. is awesome.
Before we go to audience questions, Katie, I was just hoping you could give us an update on She-Authority.
Yeah, well, thanks for asking. We've been working really hard to kind of get a nice base kind of set thing going, and now we are really hoping to be able to continue to expand it. One thing that we're adding, which should be pretty fun, is an advice column. We got a really amazing woman named Rose so people will be able to kind of submit questions, and she's gonna write out articles with answers. So I think that'll be really fun. And we're hoping to do more events. We did one, which it's so hard to I don't know if anybody has like an organization or anything, but it's everything you want to do. It's like, it is so hard, like it's so much work, but totally worth it. And one of the things we really want to do is start doing video content. So I don't know if anybody out there wants to start making She Authority video content, but we do need some collaborators in that space.
What would be the best way for them to reach out to She Authority?
On the website where there's sheauthorityarticles@gmail.com is where you can submit articles. And also we really do encourage people, if anybody out there has a story they want to tell, something that they've been through or something that they've learned, advice, they can write an article and submit it to She Authority and we'll post it on the website. But also there, if you want to reach out that way, sheauthority@gmail.com. And yeah, we're looking for, I think we want to do video essays, so basically taking an article and turning it into video. We want to do day in the life, and then we want to do roundtable discussions with women in different fields, kind of getting them together and then talking about what they've been through, how they've got there, and advice. So if anybody has the capacity, capabilities to do that.
Support She Authority, please. All right, so let's start talking to the audience. I'm sure you all have lots of questions. Where are my dragons? No, hold on. I thought you were Daenerys for a second, but no, you are Black Canary?
Killer Frost, oh yeah. Duh.
There is a light in my eye.
It's hard to see.
Hi. Katrina, I just wanted to say I may have screamed when I saw that you were the one training the Elizabeth daughter in 716, but I was alone in my bedroom, so it's okay. But yeah, I know that, of course, Sarah's with Ava right now, but if there was some kind of, otherworld possibility of Nyssara being endgame, what would you sort of envision that being like?
Always with the unicorns. Actually, we're gonna have some options for you guys later. Look, I brought them. Can you guys see these? We have some memes. So you get to pick your storyline. What is that?
Choose your own adventure?
Yeah, choose your own adventure.
There never was a queer one of those, so this is perfect.
There's every single position.
Yeah. So we're missing one right now, but it's, did I already go through these? But yeah, you'll have these later, so you can kind of tell me what you envision in detail. But yeah, unicorns.
Thank you.
Could you imagine how weird it would be if this was my actual relationships and everyone has their own opinions on who you should be with and
Have you not been on social media?
Yeah, but I mean not character, in real life.
No, I mean, have you not been on social media?
I'd like to point out I was the person that got Katrina on stage with the pride flag yesterday.
A goddess you are.
My question is, with a baby at home, what are the odds that you would actually come back to Legends?
100%. If I could bring my baby, I'd do that too. Look, Sarah, it's yours.
So my question was, if you guys could have your own spin-off series, what kind of genre would you want to play, or characters would you want to play together?
I think it'd be Three's Company.
With Ava?
Maybe. It could be a revolving door. Wasn't the blonde always the one that was revolving? They always had a new, it was always Janet.
The new Chrissy, the new blonde,
the new Chrissy, yeah. I'll be Janet. Maybe Miami Vice. You could shoot in Miami and just hang out.
Sirens of space-time!
Yeah, it is kind of like science. But I wouldn't want to be like the 70s, like bimbo. We would be more like, I think like in the suits on the...
Okay, yeah, I can dig this. I can dig this.
So there wasn't a lot of downtime, obviously, at the League of Assassins, but I was wondering, when you guys were telling people, what a normal day would be like for you two.
We like to knit sweaters for penguins. You knit? I tried. There are lots of holes. I have a...
She knits.
I'll show you how to knit on a loom. It's a lot easier.
She's really good at it. One of the first times I met you, you had this like green, beautiful scarf that was like 12 feet long, and you're like, I knitted this like yesterday. I like on set, I'll knit like 3 hats in a day. Like, I get like just obsessive, and I like to get off my phone. I'll just be knitting like for hours.
She's really no holes.
Did you say you have a loom at home?
No, it's like it's just a circular thing.
I was like, that is hardcore.
Stitch, so you don't make it's not as easy to drop a stitch or make a mistake. So,
Yeah, I would like this skill set. The penguins would appreciate it.
a lot of knitting on Nanda Parbat. Yeah.
Hi. First of all, to tell you dogs I said hi and that they're lovely. But my question is, everyone's kind of been dancing around it the whole time, but knockdown, drag out fight, who would win, Ava or Nyssa? You have to have an opinion about this.
I'm right here.
But Ava's your girlfriend.
Oh.
Who are you?
Well, I mean, if I take out the like just answering practically.
We're not here for practicality.
Well,
They really aren't.
my answer is not me saying which one I want to be with. I'm just answering who would win in a fight, and I think it would be Nyssa. I mean, she trained the League of Assassins. She was training before Sarah was training, so
I win.
for me, if I was to say Ava would beat Nyssa, then I would have to that would mean Ava would beat Sarah in a fight, and I don't think Ava would beat Sarah in a fight.
Girl fight, go.
But maybe Sarah would throw the fight. She might let her win.
Pillow fight! Also, I just real quick, have you ever noticed that Nyssa just cannot walk into a room without it being super dramatic? It's always got to be from the ceiling, or that is how I want to live my life.
It's true, and all the air just gets sucked out of the room.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, someone's here to ruin something.
Hi, I'm really short. First of all, I want to say thank you so much for being so supportive of the ship and the relationship, and we love seeing that. My question is for Katrina. Seeing as we talked about it already, she trains Mia, and a couple of the fans noticed that they didn't really do any aging makeup on Nyssa. And so my question is, does Nyssa have a picture in her attic, or is she just canonically now an immortal goddess?
Did you just ask if I had a picture in my attic?
Dorian Gray.
Dorian Gray.
Oh. I have a Lazarus pit in my attic? Does that work?
No, that really is the right answer.
Ah!
I was
Splash
talking to
every
them
so often.
on Arrow, and they're like, yeah, we didn't do age makeup on her because the Lazarus pit. She made a facial serum, I think, out of it, the water. It's like a rose mist, and
Has flecks of gold in it. I'm gonna sell it soon.
So Theodora and Nyssa didn't destroy all of them.
No, I think we found 3 more of them. And that's where Meathy and Roy went off, and then Roy came back. I guess Roy didn't remember that there was a Lazarus pit.
So maybe she's born with it, maybe it's Lazarus.
We should create some like facial products. I'm really into skincare, so.
Hello. Hi, my name is Melinda, and this question is for Kaity, because I don't know you, Katrina Law. I really don't. My daughter started me to watching The Legends, and Sarah, and I have to say Jess, but it's Kaity.
Ava.
Yeah, I have them twisted. Anyway, and I love them, because I've been here before, so I met them. I was blessed to meet them then, and I met them now.
But Mama was ready. By the way, I can beat you in a fight. What's up?
We just had roundhouse kicks at, what time is it? It's early. That's too early.
I'll
for
give you this.
roundhouses.
Ava is really flexible. Did
Only
anyone
ClexaCon
else
folks.
notice that she didn't even say hi to me? Am I just an object to fight over? Am I not a human being? Whatever.
All's fair in love and war, right? Oh, go ahead. Continue your question.
Yeah. May I finish?
Yo, go for it.
But no, everyone, this is not part of the script and all that. This is from the heart. Anyway, my daughter also took me to see Wonder Woman, Gal Gadot. So my question is, would you all ever consider like doing a movie with her? The kick-ass power type thing? Or invite her on? No, because you guys are good. Or either have her as a guest, as part of, no, let me finish.
No, please.
Not taking anything away from you or you. I just have to get a feel of you, because I don't know. And I would say this though, as far as Ava's concerned, come to her, she might kick your ass, because she's in love with her.
We have an avalanche shipper in the audience. I don't know if you noticed.
Mama, I'm gonna convert you.
I'm originally from Houston, Texas, and I wear the brand. But anyway, my question is just to see, if y'all could, but she would work for the, what is that Ava works for?
The Time Bureau.
Yeah, as a part of a time bureau to come and help you guys, y'all get stuck
Well,
in summer.
Gal Gadot, Wonder Woman.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess we could see if Gal Gadot would give her like maybe a co-star, a one-liner
Test
on
run.
the show. You'd have to test her out.
You guys up, but like, hey, we'll call in the future if we need you or something like that.
You keep an eye on social media and see if there's any announcements. We'll figure it out.
But we're into it, so.
And that's just a question, a thought that I had. I mean, this is.
Yeah. If you talk to her, I would love her to come on the show. So
Yeah.
I'm into this idea.
Tell her to reach out to She Authority.
I don't know social media, this came from me.
Okay. Well, we'll pitch it. We'll pitch it. I'll dress up as Wonder Woman.
I got you. We do have Batwoman
I'm
in the
just saying, I'm
audience,
just
by the
saying.
way.
It's like the principal's office.
Hi, Emma.
I just want to say, like, your relationship on screen is, I can feel a lot of love coming from that, so you did a really good job. So I'm an MMA fighter, and through acting, I found my passion and purpose in fighting. And I know that your roles are very physical, and that you do kind of a lot of your own stunts. So I was just wondering how finding that kind of complement to your acting skills and on screen that has affected your life going forward?
Well, I started as a dancer, so movement has been a huge, if not like the most influential aspect of my life, has been all different kinds of movements, like martial arts and dance. So to be able to utilize them in acting is amazing. To be able to combine those passions is so much fun for me, and I love it. I mean, that's like, I'm so grateful for growing up with that in my life. And just to be able to feel that connection with your body, I think is really powerful. So any kind of, like, whether it's dancing, fighting, whatever, I think it's a really beautiful thing to have that kind of relationship with your body.
Same thing, I grew up a dancer, and then eventually I got into acting, and it does lend you to kind of get these really fun roles. Because I think as a dancer, or anybody who does martial arts or something like that, you carry yourself in a certain way, and there's a power that just comes from you physically, versus someone who hasn't really been active their entire life. And so you get those roles. I don't necessarily know that we'll ever get like the wafy, you know, completely vulnerable, you know what I mean? Like, I think there's always a little bit of ingenue. Yeah, maybe not, but we can always try. But I think there's a beauty when you walk onto set, because we do have stunt doubles, so it's not a requirement when you do an action show that you need to be able to do your own stunts. But it always helps, and one of the beautiful things is if you have a really great stunt double, they try to mimic you, and being able to add your own influence and flair to what your character does in a fight scene, I think is so important as an actor. And I mean, Caity does a great job of it because she does a lot of her own stunts. And you can see whoever is doubling her, they do a great job of bringing Caity's essence to that fight. So you never suddenly go, this is the actor, and this is suddenly the stunt double who's doing this craziness. And then you go back to the actor who's like, ha! Do you know what I mean? Like, it just kind of flows, and I think that's why shows like Legends and Arrow are so great, because a lot of our actors do bring themselves into the physicality, because they are very capable of doing their own stunts, and I think that's really important in shows like this one, or like ours, yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Do you have some favorite stunts that you've done on your own without a double, like that you've fully completed?
I never had a stunt double in any of my projects other than these shows, which was really weird, but also really nice. But just the amount of work that I mean, it is so much work, and a lot of times you're getting to these stunts at 3 o'clock in the morning, and it's freezing and it's raining outside, and they're like, okay, you're gonna like run over there, and then all these pipes are gonna fall on you, and you're like, oh, thank God for a stunt double. Like, that sounds terrible right now. But I don't know, yeah, before I used to just do all my own stunts, and I never had a double. And it wasn't until I came on Arrow and Legends that I ever had a stunt double. And it's mostly because of the pure amount of workload. But also they do some crazy stuff that's like really dangerous. There was one where my stunt double was like riding on the back of the motorcycle. It was like Green Arrow and the Canary, and she had to like jump onto the moving car from the, and it was like actually.
I remember that scene exactly.
Yeah, and that's the kind of stuff where I'm like, yeah, oh. Look great.
I'll be at the craft table.
Yeah, and she had like a helmet on underneath her wig because it was like, yeah.
What about you?
So the little flare thing, the first time that our characters meet, and they do the like whole silk rope thing, I remember I was like, oh, let me try to pull myself up on this rope thing. And I was like, oh, I'm athletic, and I pull myself and my ass immediately hits the ground. I was like, whoa. So I was very thankful for, it was Atlin who did that one, right? Because she was part of the circ, one of the circ troops, so she basically did that, and I just remember thinking, if that were me, I would die. Like literally, I would fall 20 feet and die. So there wasn't even an option to do that. I wasn't even like, oh, let me try. It was, no, I'm just dead. But did anybody here ever watch Spartacus? Yeah! So Saxa and I had a fight where basically like, they team off the German rebels with the existing rebels, and we all fight each other, and she and I got paired up. And again, we didn't have any stunt doubles because it's New Zealand, they don't believe in them.
That's not how New Zealand rolls.
No, they're just like, do your own stunts, bitch. There you go. Okay, fine. So yeah, we did our own stunts, and it was this full-on 32 count fight, and we just had to do it over and over again, and we were flipping each other into sand, and I remember like chicken cutlets were flying all over the place, and oh, it was so much fun. But yeah, that was probably my favorite one. And then we also there was a guy who we got to beat up, because that's kind of what the fight was. We were beating up this dude, and I remember I got to fish hook him. Like, I specifically asked if I could fish hook him, and I did, and it was awesome.
Was that the one you also got to stab like 20 times in the neck or something?
That was the flying squirrel monkey, which I also did by myself, which was very fun. Yeah, the things you do in New Zealand, you're not allowed to do in the United States. So, there's no way I would have been able to do any of that.
There's a lot that goes on in the Arrowverse. It's a lot to keep up with. Would you go back and change anything in your character's timeline throughout the time that you guys were in Arrow?
I think Sarah would have jumped out of the Lazarus pit and been like, Nyssara! Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, maybe not die so much. That's all I can really think of.
We have time for a couple more questions if anybody wants to come up.
Oh. By the way, guys, Tamari's the one who was able to make that shirt happen. Yeah. Sorry. Speaking of New Zealand, you crazy.
Especially for Jess. Oh, I mean,
Tamari and I have been fighting on Twitter for months now. We're still in a fight.
So since I haven't watched Arrow, who do you think will win in the fight between Nyssara and Sarah?
Well, you gotta practice.
I think it would just be a tickle fight.
No, we'd probably actually like end up just both stabbing each other at the same time.
Yeah,
and, like,
I think so.
Dying. That seems like the very Arrow, Nyssara thing that would happen. We would be like just shanked at the same time and then die. Like, oh, sorry. I love you.
Yeah, no, I think at one point Nyssa probably would have won, but then Sarah's gotten so good that, I don't know, she might even be better at this point because you've fought different.
Yeah, and I have like all that new tech stuff too, so.
Oh, hey! Hey, look at this shirt. Yeah, girl.
So my question is for Katrina. When Nyssa releases Sarah, do you think that Rachel will punish her for it?
Oh, hell yeah.
My question is for Katrina. How do you think Nyssa would react to all the magical creatures?
I think it would be hysterical. Like, I think I would just love to go, I would love Nyssa to go to Legends just to get reactions. Like, I think it would be so funny.
Praise be Bo.
This question's for Katie. Who do you think Sarah's favorite one-night stand was?
Listen, are you trying to start a war here?
Very much so.
I'm trying to remember what all of them were.
They can tell you if you need any help.
Okay, I hear your guys' answer. You want to hear mine? I mean, I don't think Sarah and Captain Cold ever actually slept together, so that can't be one.
Go for the chicken.
It was like the queen of, there was some queen that was pretty good. There was two queens, actually. There was like Guinevere. There was Guinevere, and then and the Queen of France. I mean, I think the Kyler, Alexander's was the most like real one-night stand where it was all awkward and stuff. But she was so awkward afterwards, so I feel like that makes Sarah kind of like, that was maybe a bad choice. We gotta work together, and she's being really weird about this. But
we've all been there, it really.
Yeah, without the aftermath, I think that would probably be her favorite.
Hi. My question would be, since we're talking about Nyssara being legends, hopefully, how would she react with the information that A was a clone?
Share the love.
My head hurts from that one.
I think I would just be like, hey, just don't use the C word. It's a sensitive subject.
Thank you. Okay, I think this is probably gonna be our last question.
Thanks. Caity, you've played Sarah Lance for many, many years. When you were cast as her, did you know that she would be bisexual, and what was that conversation like for you, and how did you deal with that?
When I was cast, so I didn't even know what character I was gonna be. Like, they had fake names on the characters, so I had no idea what I was getting into. And then when they told me, they were like, oh, it's gonna be like the first version of the Black Canary, and I was like, cool. And I don't think we ever really got to, well, like, it wasn't like, hey, you know, we need to talk about this. Your character's gonna be bisexual. Like, it wasn't, I don't really remember that. I think it was literally just like reading the script, and it was, hoo-ha comes down, and then they make out. And it was like, cool. It was the same, like, I think Sarah and Oliver's character, we never thought that, we were like, oh no, they're just friends, and then we get like a script and it's like, wait, we're making out? And I was like, oh, cool, okay, cool, guess we're like, we're going always, I'm into it. It really was like a non-issue, a non-thing. It became more of a thing afterwards when I realized like how important it was for other people, like to be able to see that and have that representation. I don't think I really realized that at first. At first it was just like, cool, like she's interesting and she's expressing her sexuality. And then it wasn't until like kind of with the fandom where I was like, oh wow, this character actually this is really important, which was really cool. And then now it's like Sarah's sexuality is one of my, you know, favorite things about her, and I think it's what makes her like not only more interesting character, but just kind of powerful in terms of having that kind of representation on TV.
And thank you to both of you for knowing how important that is and recognizing how important that is, because
is that Ava Sharp? Something about to go down?
Well, anyway, but thank you for recognizing how important that is to all of us, and we so appreciate what a wonderful job you've done with these characters. And thank you for being here.
Yeah, thank you guys. I mean, we are blessed to be allies and a part of this community, for reals. Like, so thank you for bringing us all in it and sharing your love with us.
Let's give it up for them.